Hi guys, so this video is going to be pretty lengthy and it's not what I typically post, but I'm just going to say bear with me while I talk about my story and my arthritis journey. As you can tell, I'm already dressed. Okay, so first I want to educate you on what arthritis typically is, but I'm going to explain it in a way where you're going to understand it. So it's inflammation in the joints, and it can cause pain, stiffness, and other things. It depends on what kind of arthritis you have. I also have it in my eyes, and so it can affect my eyes. And yeah. Okay, so let me tell you about, I guess my story, how I was diagnosed. So at first my mom noticed something was wrong about the ripe age of 4, and we only noticed it in my mom's wedding photos when I looked all crooked and that, something was medically not right with me. And my mom kept bringing it up to the doctors, and they kept saying that there's nothing to worry about, she looks fine, she looks healthy, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. But then, when I hit 3rd grade, I started to limp, and my mom didn't understand why, and neither did I. I couldn't really communicate with her that my joints were hurting, like my hips were hurting, my knees were hurting, because that's all it was at first when I was younger, it was just my hips and knees. I'm going to insert the video of me limping where my mom started to notice that something was really wrong right here.
She ate her camera!
So as you could tell, something was clearly not right with me. So that's what kind of started my long journey of trying to figure out what was wrong with me. It took a year. We figured it out in 4th grade, but in that meantime, I met 13 different doctors, had several CAT scans, several MRIs, several x-rays, even had a doctor that told me that they wanted to cut me open and look into my hip physically, which we denied. And no one could figure out what was wrong with me. So we went to the Madison Children's Hospital, and they were like, oh, your kid has Lyme's disease. But that was a misdiagnosis, and I don't even know if that's a word, but they ended up putting me on a medication that I didn't need for a year. And then when I hit 4th grade, we went to the Milwaukee Children's Hospital because my doctor that was doing my Lyme's disease wasn't there anymore or something. And it was kind of confusing at first because we didn't hear anything from the doctor, and so now we didn't have anyone that knew what was wrong with me. So we decided to go to the Milwaukee Children's Hospital, and we had been to everywhere in Wisconsin, seen several doctors, and we finally met Dr. Porter. He was in his 80s, and he was like, you are the youngest kid I've ever had, the youngest person I've ever had in my office and whatnot, and that I was his youngest patient ever, and that he's only ever dealt with older women and older men. And yeah, pretty much he ended up looking me over and ruled out that I had JIA, juvenile idiopathic arthritis, which, wasn't the greatest news ever, and it was kind of hard to take in because we didn't really know what that meant. So fast forward a couple months, I'm now halfway through my 4th grade year, and my mom decided to go on the Arthritis Foundation website and order a book that was how to help your kid with JIA, pretty much, something like that. In there, my mom was able to learn a lot, especially that there are camps for kids that have JIA, and that was definitely something that really helped me get through my childhood, because I made my lifelong friends and learned pain management, how to take pills, how to do self-injections, and all that fun stuff. I also want to mention that it was really nice, as a child, knowing that there were kids like me. So that's pretty much my story. I don't really have much to share other than I went to that camp for 8 years. But now I want to talk about what it was like, now growing up, knowing what I had. As you can expect, a kid with a disability can be rough in school, obviously. As you can imagine, there was bullying that happened, and it wasn't the greatest experience. Pretty much, I was told that it's fake, kids can't get arthritis, that I was faking it because I would be in a wheelchair one day and running around the next. But that's the thing, is that people, even adults, don't understand this. So yes, there is no cure, but that doesn't mean that I don't feel it every day in some sort of way. But then also there is times where I don't feel it at all. Which I guess is what people don't understand, is that arthritis is like flare-ups. So you can feel it rough some days and you don't feel it at all other days. So let's look at it like if I were to spend a week at school. In the winter typically, because the weather does affect my arthritis. So Monday I could say I was in a wheelchair because it really hurt to walk, and I don't want to overstep my boundaries and walk when it is really painful, especially because I tend to feel dizzy and then I get weak, and it's just not a good look. And then Tuesday I could be like perfectly fine, which I know it doesn't make sense, but that's kind of how medical things are. Lots of medical things don't make sense. Like, why do we have cancer? Like, why can we, like, you know, why can our spines move? Why do we get extra bones? Why do, you know, like, it all doesn't make sense. So, as you can tell, some days I'm fine, some days I'm not. It really just depends, and I can't predict the future. I don't know when I'm going to get a flare-up. I mean, sometimes, like, one day it can be, like, not as bad of a flare-up, and then the next day it's really rough, so I get, like, a little heads up on, like, what I should prepare myself for. But, like, in the end, I really don't know. Common questions I get asked, being someone that was diagnosed at such a young age with arthritis, is, like, do only old people get it? No. Do I know when my next flare-up is going to be? No. Is there a cure? No. There are lots of ways I cope with arthritis, like some being ice and heat. I do tiger balms and like hand creams. If it's like my ankles or my wrists, I will do like compression sleeves. If it's in my eyes, then I have my glasses. But that's pretty much like what I can do, because I'm just gonna live with it, so I kind of just have to bear through it. Pretty much the whole point of me making this video is that I had a really rough high school like time dealing with my disability, because I was like told that I don't look like I'm sick enough, I don't look like I'm disabled enough. How come I can still get up and walk to the toilet after being in a wheelchair all day? And all that, but I'm not in a wheelchair because my joints don't work. I'm in a wheelchair because it hurts, and it's better for me to not baby it and then cause a flare-up in the opposite side of my joints, so like babying my left hip, which then will make my right hip hurt. So that's why I sometimes choose not to walk at all or limit my mobility so I can get better faster. I just want to make it clear that not all disabilities are visible to the eye. There are countless like invisible disabilities, and that's something that I feel like people need to be educated on more, and so that's kind of why I'm here talking about my story and my journey. I also want to make it known to like my old high school peers, if you are seeing this, is that I don't only have JIA, I also have severe scoliosis and ankylosing spondylitis on top of lots of other things, because with my scoliosis mixing with my arthritis, it caused some other problems, as you can imagine. If you don't know what scoliosis is, it's pretty much my spine has a curvature in it, so it's not like all of your guys's. And ankylosing spondylitis was caused from my arthritis and my scoliosis mixing together, causing some of my back joints to fuse together. And in my eyes, I have uveitis and blephitis, which is pretty much where my eyes can be sensitive to the light sometimes, and my teardrop like maker in my eyes can flare, and it burns like really bad when I cry. That's pretty much everything I wanted to say, and I just want to say thank you for bearing with me and watching this like 10-minute long video. If you have any questions, feel free to ask, or if you have any more personal direct questions that you don't want to ask in my comments, you can just DM me. I'm an open book and open to answer anything and everything. But that's the end. Thanks for watching. Love you guys.